Hello, good morning, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host Owen James, channel that brings you all your latest news. Guys, sorry about the false start there on the opening. Don't know what quite happened there. Bit of a non-playing situation here on StreamYard. Well, we're going to talk about Dio winning his appeal and what that should mean, and what that does mean, and what that could mean. And I'm trying to think of some more words, but I can't. It's too late. And also, we're going to talk about a possible exit for Cyriel Dessers in this transfer window. Sources within the club indicating to those some people who are within the know that he could well be on his way out this January. Interesting, very interesting times. Right, let's start off with the Mohamed Diomande news. Now, look, we all sat there on, just on Sunday, and we were absolutely just, I think, all of us incredulous to just thinking, what the hell was that decision by Nick Walsh? What on earth was he doing? And then I think, as many have said, I think everyone else was even more stunned when we, obviously after the VAR review, the decision was not overturned, when obviously it was quite clear that Don Robertson on VAR thought that there'd been a huge mistake. Quite interesting as well that Dermot Gallagher, Celtic fan referee, when watching the incident on RefView on Sky, immediately said, "No way is that a red card. That is a joke. That is a ridiculous decision." Interesting to see Dermot Gallagher, one of the best referees in world football, or was one of the best referees in world football, immediately stating, "No way, red card." Yes, Celtic fans, someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Well, obviously Rangers announced after the game that they would be appealing the decision because it was a stupid decision. It was a ridiculous decision. And the appeal took place yesterday, and Rangers have, guys, sit down for this. You're going to need to sit down. You might even need a stiff drink or something, but Rangers won the appeal. Yes, that's right. Rangers won the appeal with the SFA. Oh my God. Has hell frozen over? Is that a stream of flying pigs I can see outside the window? But apparently it's getting nippy down there. That's what I've heard. Anyway, yes, Mohamed Diomande won his case. This was the verdict as it came out. So Tuesday, 28th of January, 2025, player Mohamed Diomande, Rangers. Match Dundee United versus Rangers FC on Sunday, the 26th of January, 2025. Competition Scottish Premiership. Offence A2, violent conduct. Why is it A2? Bizarre, isn't it? These codes. It's like some sort of speeding fine, which I've had quite a few of those. Claim was for wrongful dismissal. Fast track tribunal hearing. Outcome: claim upheld. Original sanction of a red card for A2. Violent conduct is rescinded with immediate effect. So Rangers win. The card is overturned, as it should have been on Sunday. Thank the Lord it wasn't a critical decision. Thank goodness it wasn't when it was 1-1 or we were 1-0 down, or, that it was in the first half or at the start of the second half. Thank goodness it kind of came when it did. Now, look, as I said at the time, I watched it back. I watched it in slow-mo. I watched it at full speed, and as a qualified ref, which I am, I said, not a chance is that a red card. I'm sorry, but no way is that a red card. And you know what? I was proved right on the situation. You can see that Holt shoves Dio, and as Dio falls back, his arms go out, and his arm goes near his face, and the ref interprets that as a slap. Now, I don't know if you've ever been pushed over, but you don't fall over when you've been pushed over like that or like that. You flail your arms out to try and keep yourself up. That's what Dio did. So, look, it's not a red card. Now, first things first is obviously good news that the Scottish FA have seen sense. Bloody hell. I've just passed out yet again. The Scottish FA have, I can't believe I've just said that. That's got to be one of the quotes of the year so far. And it's only 28 days, 29 days old, isn't it? That the SFA have seen sense probably for the first time in history. But obviously this is not a red card, and he will be eligible to play against Ross County and Hearts. So no 2-game suspension, and Dio will be back for the 2 league games. Obviously it wouldn't have impacted his playing on Thursday because the Europa League is a separate competition. So yeah, he gets to play against Ross County and Hearts. Good news. And I thought Dio had quite a good game actually on Sunday. One of his better games, and that goal he scored was absolutely excellent. He played well. He did play well for me. But of course, it does beg the question: what happens to Nick Walsh? When you screw up at work, and you screw up at work in a big way, the impacts work. I'm not talking about you get told off and, taking too long on your break, or sneaking out for a cheeky fag, or, perhaps swearing when you shouldn't, or unless you're a teacher, of course, then it could be quite serious, or something like that, or, if you leave a car or a building to burn, if you're a fireman, that's quite a serious offence. But I'm talking about, like a minor thing you probably don't get touched for. But yeah, it's quite serious. The guy got a major decision in a match wrong. Like I said, if you do something at work that's majorly wrong, you get a talking to, you get a warning, you get a disciplinary, you get something, don't you? Because that's what life is. So you've got to kind of question what's going to happen to Nick Walsh as a result of this decision. Now, I think Don Robertson isn't the greatest ref in the world. He's made some ridiculous decisions, like the Sterling sending off. But I think he is free of blame on this. It's quite clear from what happened on Sunday that he wanted Nick Walsh to go and watch the video because he thought there had been a clear and obvious error, because, as you know, VAR only intervenes when there has been a clear and obvious error. Therefore, Don Robertson, calling Nick Walsh to the monitor, says, "Nick, you have made a clear and obvious error. Go and have a look. Sort yourself out, mate." And Nick Walsh didn't sort himself out, mate. He sorted out the green and white side of the city. He probably went and did a shirt over his head lap of parquet afterwards, yay boys, I've done it for you, hey ho. But look, you've got to kind of think, that there's got to be some sort of sanction, that Nick Walsh has to suffer some sort of sanction for this, because he's made a stupid error. He's made a major error in a match, in an important match. Now, Dio would have served a 2-game suspension, so maybe Nick Walsh needs to serve a 2-game ban from refereeing. Maybe he's not allowed to referee for the next 2 Premier League fixtures in Scotland. He's banned from refereeing. His action would have banned Dio for 2 games. His action was proved to be incorrect. Therefore, the punishment comes back on him. Maybe that's too simplistic. Maybe that's a ridiculous idea. But, for me, Walsh should at least be stood down for this weekend's games, basically to say to him, you screwed up. You didn't do the right thing. You were given a chance to sort yourself out. You didn't. Look, I don't even want to know why you didn't, because there's a whole lot going around now that you have really not helped yourself with these. And I mean, Nick Walsh has got to take a long, hard look at himself. He really does, because he has not helped at all the whole kind of narrative, whether you believe the narrative or not. I'm not saying there is a conspiracy against us. I'm not saying there is a pattern of assistance. I'm not saying that there is corruption in the Scottish game. I'm not saying that, okay? I've calmed down now. I'm not saying that. If you are in that camp that thinks that referees and the SFA conspire against Rangers and there is a conspiracy against us and everyone hates us, well, I think everyone does hate us, but there's patterns of assistance towards the green and white side of the city, that every game is refereed in their favour, etc., then that's great. If you just think that referees are genuinely shit in Scotland, then there's that camp as well, and there's the camp down the middle that think people make mistakes. So there's 3 camps. Now, you can obviously make your mind up what camp you're in, wherever you are on this. But Nick Walsh has not helped the reputation of the Scottish game with a stupid mistake like that. He's also not helped. He's also poured petrol on the flames of the conspiracy side of things. He's just caused a whole hoo-ha. And he has a history of doing this. For example, wasn't he the guy on the VAR monitor that disallowed Alfie's goal at Parkhead? Wasn't he the guy who gave Celtic 2 very, very dubious penalties against Hibernian to help them win that game when the league was on last year for us? There's a whole series of decisions that he's done that perceivably could be seen as pro-Celtic decisions. He has not helped himself. And like I said, this kind of reputation that Scotland has as the Farmers League, it's a joke league. I hear this all the time down here from English football fans. I get it in the neck at work. I had someone asking me the other day, were Rangers a full-time team or were they all amateurs? I mean, that was a genuine question that was asked by a Villa fan. So look, I think Nick Walsh has done a bad thing, so therefore needs to suffer some sort of punishment. It has to be. If he gets off scot-free, if he's allowed to referee this weekend, then that quite clearly sends the wrong message. You can be as shit as you want, and there's never going to be a sanction. There's no accountability. There has to be accountability for refs. Right, let's move it along. Let's talk about everyone's favourite topic, everyone's favourite striker, Cyriel Dessers. Well, I don't think he's everyone's favourite, but I know some people absolutely cream themselves over him. I'm naming no names. I don't want to get in trouble again. But I'm sure you can all think of who they are. I'm keeping the pronouns very neutral. Not that I'm woke. Yes, Cyriel Dessers. Look, Cyriel Dessers is I mean, I think if you were to go and get a dictionary now and go and get one, and you were to open the dictionary and you were to look for the word enigma, you would just see a picture of Cyriel. That's what you'd see. You'd see a picture of Dessers. He is an enigma. You know, from time to time he becomes D9, and from other time to time he becomes park footballer Dessers. He is just maddeningly consistently inconsistent. You know, he misses chances that he should score. He scores chances that he should miss. You know, he is just quite categorically the strangest footballer I've ever seen in my entire life. You know, he'll score you a fantastic goal, you know, like the one against Aberdeen or the one on Sunday, yet he'll miss, you know, pretty much an open goal against Ross County twice, pretty much miss a sitter against Nice. You know, he'll miss 5 chances against Hearts to win you the game. He'll miss you a absolute gilt-edged chance at Parkhead, which could have changed the game and even changed the title race last season. You know, he is Dessers, and he's just incredibly average. I think that's the best part. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's good. He's not a good footballer. He's not a good player. Look, even you pro Dessers people out there, I've got to admit, he's not a good footballer. He's a very average footballer. He's not terrible. He's not dog meat. He's not mince. He's average. That's what he is. He's bang average. He's not 27 grand a week average. I mean, I could be 27 grand a week average. I'd love to be 27 grand a week average. I mean, 27 grand a week, that's more than I get paid in a year, which sort of pisses me off a little bit. But look, Dessers is an enigma, an absolute enigma. Like I said, the guy can score you a great goal, but he can also miss you an absolute gilt-edged one, can't he? He really genuinely can. Now, look, Dessers has got 8 goals this season in the Premiership. He's got, I think it's 12. I can't remember how he scored. He scored quite a few across all competitions, obviously. I think he's probably our top scorer across all competitions. Obviously, did well last season with 22 goals last season. You know, scored goals, but missed an absolute host of chances. Probably could have had 40 or 50 goals last season if he'd taken even 2/3 of his chances or even half of his chances. And the joke, obviously, is that he needs 5 chances to score 1. So, look, that's where we're at with him. Now, look, he is a player who, and I'm not, right, guys, before anyone says, oh, it's Erin hating on Dessers again, I'm not hating on him. I'm merely pointing out some footballing obvious things that some of you don't like. Look, 1, his movement is very poor. 2, his hold-up play is very poor. 3, he doesn't understand the offside rule. I mean, he's got less of an understanding of the offside rule than Fashion Sakala crossed with Ted Lasso, and that is pretty bad. You know, he falls over rather too much and moans quite a lot. He moans more than my ex-wife. God, I hope she doesn't watch this. And I hope my daughters don't watch this. And 5th, he just is maddeningly frustrating. He misses too many of his chances. He can't be relied upon that at that critical moment he's going to score that critical goal. You know, he didn't score the winning goal on Sunday. Proper did that because technically the second one is the winner. The third one is just, you know, it's just an extra. The 7 against Aberdeen, it was a 3rd goal. It wasn't the critical one. So look, that's where we're at. Now, he has scored, you know, he scores goals and he will score goals, but he'll also miss an absolute sack full of chances. He is inconsistent. That's the key word there, inconsistent. Is he good enough to be a starting striker for Rangers? I don't think he is. I personally don't think he is. I think he's okay as a backup. I think as a 3rd choice, he's absolutely spot on. You know, Hamza is the best, Danilo is the 2nd best, and Dessers is 3rd best. I think that's just plain fact. I'd even put Dessers and Lovelace as kind of joint. I even perhaps put Lovelace as a bit better than Dessers because he's reading the game is good, his hold-up play is good, and he's a bit faster. And I think he would score a lot of goals if he was given a chance. And if anybody comes back at me and said, well, Dessers has scored so many more goals, well, that's because Lovelace hasn't had a chance. Look, there is a real genuine feeling and a genuine sources from in the club saying that if there is a genuinely good offer for him in this window, he will be allowed to leave. You know, I think that's the right decision to make because 1, you cannot afford to have a backup striker sat on the bench earning 27 grand a week. That is bad football management, especially when you haven't got a lot of money. You know, if you're Manchester City, if you're Arsenal, if you're Liverpool, if you're Chelsea, you've probably got strikers sat on the bench who are on £270,000 a week, you know, as your backup. You know, that's just how it is. I mean, I don't know what Darwin Núñez at Liverpool is on. I don't know what Gabriel Jesus at Arsenal is on. I don't know what Mudryk is on at Chelsea. I don't know what any of those guys are on, but it's probably big wages. I don't know what Højlund is on at Man United. You know, there's a lot of talent there. Now, according to the reports that are coming out, and this was a guy, the guy who leaked this report was a guy called Mick Brown, who is the former chief scout and an assistant to Sir Alex Ferguson, someone who has connections to Rangers, someone who knows people in the know at the club. He said that as far as he was concerned, that as long as Rangers could get somewhere around what they paid or even make a profit on the £4 million that they paid for Dessers, they would be willing to listen to offers and allow him to leave. Brown said it's a difficult one with Dessers. Mick Brown, guys, not Scott Brown, before anybody comes back up with that one. It's a difficult one with Dessers. When I hear Rangers fans talk about him, they say the thing about him is the amount of goals he misses. When he scores, you look and think, that's what he's capable of. That's good. But it's about the number of goals he misses. He came on against a sub against Man United when they've got all sorts of injury problems because he's lost his starting place in their team. I think there's a bit of a dilemma. Then he's a bit of an enigma because he scores just enough goals to keep people interested and keep the belief in him. But if they got a reasonable bid for him and were perhaps thinking of making a profit on what they paid, then what my sources tell me is that they will sell him. So it looks like the club, Rangers, will listen to offers. They will listen to offers for this man. Now, there has been links to Serie A clubs like Cagliari, for example, to Spanish clubs like the Grones. So I do believe that if something happens before the 3rd of February, he will be sold. I think, Rangers are perhaps looking at this season as a bit of a write-off. Realistically, we're not going to win the league. It's done and dusted. Please, 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 come on. Let's get the real heads on here. Let's take our blue goggles off and genuinely realise we ain't winning the league this season. And it's about building for the future. So if we can get 4.5 million, which we can then either reinvest this in January or save till the summer, spend on players, that's good business. That's good business for Rangers. We've still got Danilo. We've still got Hamza. Look, as much as I think there is interest from Tottenham, I can't see him leaving unless a ridiculous bid comes in. We've got Zach Lovelace as well. Finley Curtis can also play through the middle. So there are options there. And we only ever play most of the time with one up top. So realistically, we can allow Dessers to leave. There may even be a plan in place that if he does leave, someone comes in. I'm sure Niels Koppen has got a list and a little black book full of names that he looks at. That doesn't sound wrong. But there you go. So that's where we're up to, guys. Look, great news about Mohamed Diomande. Fabulous news about Mohamed Diomande. Let me know what you think about the Diomande story. I don't know whether you're shocked. And let me know what you think about the Cyriel Dessers story. Personal opinion, if we can get 4.5, 5 mil for him, get him out of here. Get him sold. Thanks for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, on the way out, please do me a couple of favours. Well, 4 to be precise. Smash that like. Comment. Those 2 really important, guys. Please do them. Share. And obviously subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Remember always, guess what we've got to remember? What do we have to remember? Say it with me. We are the people.